Welcome back to Storytime. We are making our way through some Dogwise books. This is one of my favorites. Plenty in Life is Free by Sdao. Reflections on dogs, training, and finding grace. Now, Kathy is was basically my neighbor for a long time, so I've had the pleasure of meeting her in person several times. She's met Bunny, and she is one of my favorite behavior professionals for all sorts of reasons. I think this is a bit of an older book, published in 2012, so, 14-ish years old. Let's see here. I've skipped forward a couple of pages in this chapter, and we will start here. This spiritual transformation created a dilemma, though. How could I give up being a control freak and still work as an animal trainer and behaviorist? Unconditional love is surely not a training plan. One essential step toward the resolution of this dilemma is to eschew the use of intimidation or physical or psychological pain in the training process. Growing numbers of positive reinforcement dog trainers have done this to varying degrees across the globe for decades. These less coercive methods, e.g. clicker training, lure reward training, desensitization, and classical counterconditioning, represent a quantum leap forward in both sophistication and humaneness from the punitive training techniques espoused by old-fashioned military-style trainers. Because I'd been a marine mammal trainer, using those force-free methods and teaching them to my dog-owning students came naturally to me. Trainers of a vast array of non-dog species have spent little to no time involved in the long-running reinforce versus force debate. Yet, over the years, as my spiritual growth continued, I repeatedly found myself struggling with one particular tenet of positive training philosophy, and of more old-fashioned training philosophies, too. NILIF. I've come to believe that NILIF contradicts the central miracle I embrace, that I'm surrounded by countless unearned gifts from an extravagantly loving God. So for me, one of these opposing ideas, nothing in life is free for dogs, or grace is abundant for all creatures, had to go. I just did not realize this until I adopted Nick. And then just a couple of paragraphs from chapter 4 are alpha roles better than alpha roles. And that's ROLES versus ROLLS. Weaknesses of nothing in life is free. I believe it's long past time that we totally lose all the dominance-based, alpha-obsessed baggage that has infiltrated dog training and acknowledge that successful animal training can be rooted in cooperative partnership, shared joy, and genuine love. It's surprising to me that even progressive, i.e. positive reinforcement-based trainers often have no qualms about stringent nothing in life is free programs, reasoning that as long as it doesn't advocate physical dominance, then it must be okay. The whole paradigm of physical dominance needs to go. This includes scruff shakes, forced sits and downs, leash corrections, and most iconic of all, alpha rolls. For those unfamiliar with this ill-advised maneuver, the Monks of New Skete gave these instructions to dog owners. Grasping the scruff of the dog's neck firmly, shove the dog onto its back with vigor. Make eye contact and continue scolding the dog. Keep the dog pinned on its back by applying steady pressure with your hand on its neck. How to be your dog's best friend, 1978, page 46. While most all educated trainers now reject these methods, some seem to be holding onto inherited vestiges of the humans must reign mindset. We may now convey this to our dogs kindly. We may do it benignly, avoiding any shoving or yanking. But many trainers still consider it de rigueur that our species calls all the shots. For them, it's still crucial that the trainer is dominant, superior, in control, and that the dog is not. In effect, we've gone from alpha roles, ROLLS, to alpha roles, ROLES, creating relationships with our dogs built on our psychological dominance and rigorous rationing of our affection and attention. So many juicy nuggets of information in here. It's kind of a spiritual journey, a lens through which to really see our companion animals as our partners walking through life with us versus this arbitrary hierarchy. Check it out. Plenty in Life is Free, Sdao. Welcome back to Storytime. Today we are reading from the Dogwise book, Mood Matters by Karin Pienaar. I hope that's how it's pronounced. Pienaar? An innovative assessment approach to animal emotionality and the treatment of behavior problems. So let us dive in. Again, this is dense and it's got some really, really cool information. We're going to start with some paragraphs from chapter 2. What are emotions and why does it matter if mammals have them? Exploring the key resources in the development of MIRA, which is this protocol that discuss the relevance of emotions in behavior. In human psychology, there is no question about the importance of emotionality when it comes to our own behavior. We easily accept that our feelings influence how we behave, and our emotions are generally considered whenever we have outbursts of tears or rage, or when we shout with joy or excitement. However, when discussing animal emotionality, the situation is very different. Conversations can get heated and end up evoking extreme emotion in participants. And there is a clear divide in the animal world when it comes to attributing emotions to animals. The division is pronounced. You are either in the definitely yes to varying degrees camp or the absolutely not, it's anthropomorphism at its worst camp. Those of us in the definitely yes camp ardently believe that animals are capable of experiencing emotions, albeit not perhaps with the same degree of consciousness as humans. It's difficult to determine exactly to what degree animals experience emotions. After all, we can't ask them. But there is a lot of evidence that supports the existence of at least basic emotions in animals, as well as in birds and even some reptiles. In this chapter, we explore some of the science in the fascinating field that involves animal emotion, particularly focusing on the work of Panksepp and Mendel. It's like a textbook. Why the resistance? Before we begin, it's important to consider why there is resistance to the thought of animals having emotions. The simple answer is because the repercussions of this admission are vast. If we agree that animals are capable of emotions, it opens a can of worms that many industries may not be too happy about. Consider the ethical treatment of livestock, laboratory animals, or even pets and animals in captivity. Animals are used in a variety of roles all over the world, some considerably better than others. A much-loved companion dog lives a very different life to a working dog living on a farm, or a village dog living on the outskirts of human settlements, or a dog in a cosmetic animal testing facility. If we admit that animals can feel basic emotions, it means that animal testing should be viewed in the same light as testing on humans, and as such, should be deemed an illegal practice. Animal testing is already something that is vehemently opposed by many from the ethical point of view, so the scientific confirmation that animals can experience emotion will be the death knell to these practices. Similarly, the treatment of livestock on farms or at abattoirs will be significantly affected. If a cow can feel emotions, even basic ones, it means the entire agricultural world would have to reevaluate how they house and treat cows. Imagine the repercussions for abattoirs if the industry admitted that livestock can feel sadness or despair. So, why is the existence of emotions in animals such a hotly debated topic in the field of animal behavior science? Well, if you consider the role of emotions in behavior, i.e. they govern how we behave, how we respond to events, how we learn, and how we remember those events, it'll become clear why it is critical that its existence in animals is considered, especially when it comes to addressing behavior problems. When behavior problems are seen as emotional problems instead of pathological diseases, treatment approaches differ vastly. And perhaps most importantly, the individuality of the animal must then be taken into consideration instead of relying on blanket solutions applied to a one-size-fits-all premise. What are emotions? Where do they come from? Carol E. Izzard states that emotion consists of neural circuits that are at least partially dedicated response systems and a feeling state process that motivates and organizes cognition and action. Emotion provides information to the individual experiencing it and may include antecedent cognitive appraisals and ongoing cognition, including an interpretation of its feeling state, expressions or social and communicative signals, and how it may motivate, approach, or avoidant behavior, exercise control and regulation of responses, and be social or relational in nature. Emotions have multiple and quite significant functions in motivating and focusing individual endeavors, social interactions, and the development of adaptive and maladaptive behavior. Emotions are complex psychological processes comprised of many components that may not be evoked or related to each other in every situation. They can be described as impulses to act and as states of mind produced by stimuli for very specific purposes. These include arousing the animal to take action to defend himself, seek food, or other necessities, and to form and maintain cooperative cooperative attachments with others in a group for obligatory social animals such as dogs. They are also necessary to communicate emotional states to others, to respond to novelty, and to memorize signals and happenings associated with social or environmental events, and to learn to respond to those signals in the future, particularly in the case of ones associated with danger. They play a crucial role in how we navigate our environments, how we live our lives. They affect how we look at things, how our personalities develop, and how we behave. Our decisions are influenced by our emotions, and even how we respond to novelty is affected by our past emotional experiences. The same can be said for the role of emotions in animal behavior. I think this is so important to think about. For me, it's been one of the game-changing components of these button systems is the ability for my non-human companions to be able to communicate how they are feeling in any given moment. Sometimes we're not the best at reading body language, and if a dog can even semi-accurately allow us to understand that they are in distress, they're feeling anxious, how powerful is that for our ability to be able to support them going forward? So I would recommend reading this book ASAP. Got a lot of technical language and it's pretty dense, but it's really, really good information. And I think it's definitely worth reading. Thanks for joining me.
Subscribe.